perhaps have Igbo ancestry. The same with Cuba, right? So I'm looking at those two forms of migration and to think and understand why the Igbo is important in assessing. So let me place some emphasis on the Bantu migration, which occurred within the point of view. How and why is the Igbo language related to Kikuyu, spoken in East Africa? How related to Bantu expansion? By 1000 BC, in a series of migrations, Bantu speakers had across Angola and to the great lake regions of East Africa. Over the next of East Africa. Over the next and absorbing those indigenous people as they moved along. Their migration throughout Africa
to the Igbos and how it was their chief source of employment.
It can be speculated that the ancestors and colonized the rest of the subcontinent. If I had mentioned, the Leja, right? Iron works, which I think is phenomenal. If you go to Leja in Soka, the people were already Central Africa, the people they call the Pygmies, right? Have you heard the word Pygmies of the Congo, right? Those are indigenous people that these Bantu speakers, with their superior languages. But what is important in terms of understanding this domestication is evident in the large variety of food crops and edible plants in Igbo society. The variety of crops and plants attest to the antiquity of agriculture in Igbo region, including plants like, Africa rice, Guinea corn, Hungary rice, Bambara groundnut, etc., okra, and many, many others that were domesticated in this area and gave these migrants the skills and tools they use in expanding and conquering the rest of the continent. Now, accounts of captives of Igbo origin in the New World provide an unusual and rare glimpse into the agricultural and exchange economy of the Igbo. If you look at the walls over there, there's a picture of an Igbo ex-slave known as Olaudia Equiano. Anybody heard about Olaudia Equiano? Right? No? Okay. So Olaudia Equiano was born in an Igbo village in 1745 and was sold into slavery when he was 11 years. Equiano recorded later when he wrote his autobiography in 1799, he recorded life and livelihood in his village. There are speculations that it comes from Isete, which is today in Ijab. And he talked about agriculture, 18th century, that agriculture is our chief employment, and everyone, even the children and women, are engaged in it. Thus, we have a habit of labor from our earliest years. Equiano's description of Igbo society and the economy in the 18th century is supported by accounts given by other Igbo slaves in the Americas. Another Igbo slave in Jamaica, known as Archibald Montet, was born in 1799 in Igbo land and was enslaved in Jamaica. He affirmed in his memoir that yams, potatoes, and Indian corn were an integral part of Igbo agriculture in the 17th and 18th century. 19th century accounts offer more perspective. In his journey to Bonny in 1840, Hermann Kohl, a German doctor, noticed that the Igbo exported agricultural produce and metal goods to Bonny. He described the Igbo as rich in natural products, including maize, rice, yam, oil or palm oil, dyewood, and cotton, and was quite indispensable in providing staple food to Bonny. Bonny is in the riverine area, right? W.E. Crew, who visited Nsukka in 1866, was impressed by the abundance of agricultural produce, and he described that in the market they abound in corn, palm oil, palm wine, fish, deer, meat, dog, and other products like fowl, tobacco, eggs, and yams. What I'm trying to emphasize is the importance of understanding the antiquity of agriculture in Igbo land. And it is this skill of agriculture and iron technology that enabled the Proto-Bantu speakers, which includes the Igbo, to expand and people what is today sub-Saharan Africa.
The detailed dialogue that followed the lecture brought to light several critical issues such as why Igbo accent should be retained, why Biafran history war should be part of the curriculum.
Right? So I discovered, Prof, you were speaking that your accent was very much that of an Igbo. And then when I saw the flyer and saw Marcy, you know, the Arabs are usually very intentional. When an Arab, despite being a professor, could go like Al-Haji, he wants you to know where he's coming from. You know, so why has your accent to Memphis? And why do you also want to, like, you know, let everybody know that you're accent? You know, just for the lifetime mood, because we are driving to somewhere.
Well, maybe my brain, it's not where my accent actually. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, I have this conversation sometimes with my kid, and then he said, Dad, you know, that's not how to say it. I said, okay, you can't teach me how to speak English now. I only learned how to speak in the same, you know, Nigerian English.
Until, you know, with the student in the past that is very significant like this, and then you will see several years after the agitation has continued in the southeast. So how would you assess such kind of, you know, omission by those preparing the curriculum for our students?
You know, for those who write the history. So if somebody is writing the history of the Biafra War from a federal perspective, they're going to write a different history. It doesn't mean that objectivity in history doesn't count. That's very important. But the politics of history is sometimes historians have to think about what they are writing contributes to, or how it contributes to shaping, right? Social consciousness in society. So, if you're writing a history that excludes aspects of the Nigerian history and narrative.
Speaking, the executive director of the center, Mazi Ihani Ibuko, said Nkatumibe was a monthly distinguished speakers series organized by the center, which rooted in the Igbo tradition of communal discourse. He added that the program had become a vital platform for addressing pressing issues affecting Ndi Igbo, promoting Igbo values, heritage, and collective prosperity. The center also presented a plaque to Professor Korie in appreciation to his honoring occasion.
A presentation, a plaque, to commemorate today for you, to commemorate the great lecture. Congratulations.
For Aneke TV, it's been Chinwendo Ifeonwankwo reporting.
In the most special manner, we'll welcome you on this edition of Youth Focus on Aneke TV. It is the youth empowerment program that empowers the youth in several ways. It shares the lives of the youth. It also puts the youth through in all the various ways they have to live their lives and live it well. To achieve this, we make opinions. We will give commendations, motivations, criticisms. And of course, we'll respect the in-depth knowledge of some adults who have given their opinions, their views, in one way or the other to the success of this program. My name is Chukwamaka Obasi. And our focus for today is on the get-quick-rich syndrome that's really causing problems in the lives of some young people and the society at large. Thank you so much for being there. Today, permit me to introduce some guests we have on the studio who are going to discuss this topic and then educate you on that. Thank you so much. By my left, I have Mr. Uche Abeze, who is a student mentor. Next to him, I have Wilfred Okeke, who is a developmental consultant. You are welcome on the show.
Thank you.
All right, our guest, thank you so much for being there. It's good to know you are there. You have heard our topic. Today, we are get-quick-rich syndrome. That's the young people. Gentlemen, it is believable to say that richness, we met richness here on earth. Because on daily basis, we see people struggle here and there, do a lot of things to make money.
Yes.
Then permit me to begin this way. At what point could one be referred to as being rich?
At this syndrome, get rich quick, and their status and the exposure in life. So a lot of persons may have different definitions of richness or being rich or somebody being rich. But in a simple term, I could say that a rich person is one who has wisdom, knowledge, understanding, which brings the resources or manifest. I talk about wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which will now bring understanding, who can apply these three.
No, I can't agree less with what he said because when you look at it because when you look at money, it is something that you're giving in exchange for a value. You're giving in exchange for a value that you've offered.